Okay, so joints is classified as a structural classification and functional classification. In structural classification, we said the fibrous joints, cartilaginous joints, synovial joint. Fibrous joints, cartilaginous joint, synovial joint. Fibrous joints, what is fibrous joint? That particular joints which are made, which are connected by irregular dense fibrous connective tissue. Cartilaginous joints, the joints which are connected with the cartilage, we say cartilaginous joints. Synovial joints, that we have to discuss the synovial joints today. That let me go with fibrous joints here. That sutures, that coronal suture is one of the example is given here. The coronal suture present between the frontal and parietal bone, and syndesmosis, the joint present between interosseous membrane present between the tibia and fibula, and gomphosis, dento-alveolar joint, which we say is another name for the secodont type of dentition. That the alveoli of jaw and tooth will make the gomphosis there. Then cartilaginous joint, synchondrosis, epiphyseal plate of the long bone, which is present between the epiphysis and diaphysis. Symphysis, pubic symphysis, the two pubic bones which are connected, the two pubic bones of the pelvic girdle are connected by that irregular dense, fibrous cartilage.
Yeah.
What is called as symphysis, pubic symphysis. Okay, and the same old we are making in the form of functional classification here. Like based on their function and activity, we classified it in the form of synarthrosis, amphiarthrosis, diarthrosis. Synarthrosis, amphiarthrosis, and diarthrosis. So if you take the synarthrosis, syn, what is syn? Syn means united. Okay, that means the immovable joints, we say it as a synarthrosis. Okay, next amphiarthrosis. What is amphiarthrosis? That the imperfectly movable joints, we say amphiarthrosis. That means they move a little bit. What do you say? The movement is comparatively a little bit. Amphiarthrosis. Diarthrosis, completely movable joints, we say diarthrosis. The completely movable joints can be called as diarthrosis. So that is functional classification. Okay, so next, let's come with the that examples for the synarthrosis. Immovable joints, that we can say that sutures and gomphosis and synchondrosis. Sutures, gomphosis and synchondrosis. Okay, they are say example for synarthrosis, which they are not at all movable. So in that way, you have to say coronal suture, dentoalveolar joint, and epiphyseal plate are immovable. Okay, so slightly movable amphiarthrosis. What are that? Over amphiarthrosis, that syndesmosis and symphysis. We say so. Syndesmosis. Who is syndesmosis? That we are talking about interosseous membrane. That means it's slightly movable, and pubic symphysis. These two are said to be amphiarthrosis. Okay, so that you need to correlate like this. Suture means coronal suture. Likewise, gomphosis. Gomphosis means dentoalveolar joint in that way. Okay, the synchondrosis. Synchondrosis means that epiphyseal plate. Okay, in that way. Okay, so amphiarthrosis. Amphiarthrosis, slightly movable. Syndesmosis. Syndesmosis means interosseous membrane. Symphysis, that means pubic symphysis. Okay, so that may be asked directly even. So that's why I'm saying here. This chart is very important for us to remember that kind of issues. With that, now we'll move with the diarthrosis here. The diarthrosis, when it comes to the diarthrosis, that completely movable joints, we say diarthrosis, synovial joints. Okay, so completely movable joints, we can call them as. Okay, then let's go with that particular completely movable joints are nothing but synovial joints. It started yesterday. Then I'll go with that particular completely movable joint. So I'll make it remind once again that the area we said about that particular joint. What we said about the joint, that between the two bones, they are present between the two bones which interosseous membrane, present between the interosseous, that periosteum that we are making. Okay, so I am in the work actually. So let me go with, let me connect this first of all. Then after that, we are talking about that yesterday's issue, that where it is exactly. Okay, that what we said, the periosteum of one bone to the periosteum of another bone. Periosteum of one bone to the periosteum of another bone. Okay, so little bit technical problem that I need to find it out. No matter, we'll draw it back again. I'll show you that this is one bone, and this is another bone. So I said over that in front of the bone, there some articular cartilage is present here. This articular cartilage is nothing but hyaline cartilage, and from the periosteum of the one bone to the periosteum of the another bone. So like this. This is the irregular dense fibrous connective tissue with more number of collagen fibers and less number of elastin fibers. Okay. So then inner lining to this, what you can see here is the inner lining, that synovial membrane is present here. So below this, we'll find the synovial membrane. This synovial membrane is going to secrete some synovial fluid that we said yesterday, that this synovial membrane is going to secrete the synovial fluid. This is a basic synovial joint, which we call a synovial joint. Okay. So now let's talk about the different kinds of joints here. So this is the basic we learned. And now let's talk about the different kinds of joints here. That the synovial joints are of various types. For that I am taking the whiteboard. The ball and socket joint, the hinge joint. So let's take one after another. Let me take the ball and socket joint first of all. That ball and socket. For all that, you people need to remember the ball and socket joint. Where do you see the ball and socket joint? The ball and socket joint is present between the humerus and pectoral girdle. That means I am talking about that only. That humerus and pectoral girdle. Okay, so can you see the board? Okay, now let's start. Yeah, in synovial joints. I am putting the heading here, the basics we learned yesterday. That even I revise it now. Synovial joints. So what do you call functionally the synovial joints as? Diarthrosis. That means perfectly movable joints. More questions will come from here only. So that's why be careful and watch that particular issues here. Number one. So what is that? Ball and socket joint. Number one, ball and socket joint. Okay, so that means in this particular joint, two things can be seen over. What are they? Ball as well as socket. So where do you see this? So we say there are two types of joints are present here. The two types, that means example I'm talking. Number one is the hip joint. Write in capital letters, hip joint. Okay, so where do you see the hip joint? Between acetobulum of pelvic girdle, acetobulum of pelvic girdle, then the head of the femur. So, yeah, acetobulum of pelvic girdle and little bit, okay, and head of femur. So we should write like that. Hip joint between the acetobulum of femur and pelvic girdle. Okay. So now here we said ball and socket, isn't it? So who is ball? Who is socket? So that we need to write here. Who is ball? That acetobulum of pelvic girdle is socket. Then who is ball? Head of femur is the ball. So that's what we said, ball and socket joint. In the socket of acetobulum of pelvic girdle, that the head of femur is going to connect each other like. Okay, so that we say this such kind of joint as ball and socket joint. Okay. Next, next is the shoulder joint. Let me change the color. So next is the shoulder joint. So where do you see the shoulder joint? Between glenoid cavity. So I think you get related with these words here. The glenoid cavity of pectoral girdle, glenoid cavity of pectoral girdle, and the head of humerus. Glenoid cavity of pectoral girdle and the head of humerus. Okay, so that is. And again, we need to see who is socket, who is the ball, who is socket, who is ball. The glenoid cavity is said to be socket, and ball is the head of humerus. Okay, head of humerus is ball. So we call this kind of joint more flexible joint among all the joints that you can see here. That the flexibility of the movement you can see. The ball is rotating in the socket. Socket belongs to pectoral girdle and pelvic girdle. The socket of pectoral girdle is called glenoid cavity. The socket of pelvic girdle is called acetabulum. And the ball, head of femur and head of humerus, we say. Okay, so that's it. This is ball and socket joint. In the synovial joint, we call it as diarthrosis. The first joint is ball and socket joint. Okay, next. Next, we'll go with the hinge joint. Let me write the color. Okay, let me change the color. Okay, then let's take it. The hinge joint. Okay. So, do you want to allow me to take the screenshot? Okay. To find all this in textbook, no matter. If you take screenshot, will be helpful for you to revise easily. Okay. So let me take even. Okay. So that's it. That ball and socket joint. Next, the second one. Second one. Where is the second one? Done. Yeah. Okay. Hinge joint. Hinge joint. Okay, so hinge joint examples here. Number one, let me write. Number one, the hinge joint. You can see here hinge joint in this particular area. Okay, so what do you call this kind of joint as elbow joint? This is called elbow joint. So where do you see this? Between humerus and radius ulna. Between the humerus and radius ulna. Radius hyphen we put ulna. So that we can see the hinge joint. Okay. So this is the joint here, humerus and radius ulna. Okay, can you see this? Yeah, between the humerus and radius ulna. Okay. Next, the second example. That one more example here. That radius, humerus, and radius ulna. And the next example, we are talking about knee joint. Knee. So where do you see this particular joint? Knee joint. So where do you see this? Between the femur and tibia fibula. Between the femur and tibia fibula. Okay, so this is the knee joint. We can see that elbow joint, humerus and radius ulna, knee joint, femur and tibia fibula. So that's it. This is the joint. Okay, so next, the third one, third synovial joint, which we are now going. The third one, so ball and socket joint. Here we came up to here. If you take only four limbs, the glenoid cavity of pectoral girdle, glenoid cavity of pectoral girdle, and the head of humerus. What do you see? Ball and socket. Between the humerus and radius ulna, that we see hinge joint. Next, the acetobulum of pelvic girdle and head of femur. What do you see? The ball and socket joint. Between the femur and tibiofibula, that you can see the hinge attachment. Hinge attachment. Next, the third one, we are going pivotal joint. Pivot joint, we can see. So locations only we are going actually. Locations only, because in the new syllabus, just we are making, we have to look towards only the location. So what is the example here? That atlanto-axial joint. We can say this as atlanto-axial joint. Number one, I'm writing. Let me change the color. Black. We are taking. Okay. So Atlanto axial joint. Okay. Atlanto axial joint. And the joint between the radius and ulna, that Atlanto axial joint. First of all, let us write here. Then after we'll go through that second joint between the radius and ulna. Joint between the radius and ulna. Okay. So the pivot joint here allows the rotation of our forearm here at the elbow like this. That allows the rotation of the forearm at the elbow and to move our hand side to side. You can see here. Can you see this? To move our hand side to side. Okay. So that pivot joint, atlantoaxial joint. What is atlantoaxial joint? The first vertebrae is called atlas. First vertebrae we say atlas, isn't it? And second vertebrae is called, second cervical vertebrae we are talking here. Let me write the total. First cervical vertebrae is atlas, as I said to you earlier. Second cervical vertebrae is called axis. Okay, second cervical vertebrae is called axis. So here this joint is present here we are talking about. First vertebrae atlas. Let me show you. Let me show you. So that this is a ring-like vertebrae, that is atlas. Okay. So into this atlas, this axis entered, anamata. That axis entered like this. So what do you call it as atlantoaxial joint? This red one is the ring-like bone of atlas, and the green one is axis. Like this, like this. Do you know what is atlas? Atlas means the Greek god actually, which believed to be the Greek people believe that the Greek god Atlas is going to bear the total earth. So in that way they use it to say like that. Atlas is the Greek god. Okay, axis. Axis is the second vertebrae which enters into the atlas. Okay, so imagine here, this is the ring-like bone. I think you can see this. My finger ring-like I appeared. The above on the atlas will find this particular head. Okay, so we'll make it. This is the head which is there above on the atlas. Okay, so that means the total head. Then this is the vertebral column. That means axis enters into the atlas. So atlas is rotating in the axis. This ring-like bone, this ring is rotating in this particular axis. So atlas is rotating means who is there above on the atlas? The total head is there. Okay, so that means simply what I want to say, like this you are rotating, isn't it? Like this you are rotating your head. You are rotating this head because of this joint only, that atlantoaxial joint, we say. Okay, so why we can't rotate the total? That you can ask, why we can't rotate the total? Why we can't rotate the total? You see here. When I rotate this, it will tight at 180 degrees angle. That means tight. Imagine if this axis bone is little bit thinner. If you can rotate the total, you can rotate the total like this, like robo. That means 360 degrees. We can't do like that. We can't do like that because the bone will fix over. Then when atlas is rotating, not axis. This is the vertebral column. This is the second vertebrae axis, and this is the atlas. Okay, so that is about the atlantoaxial joint and joint between radius and ulna. I just shown here like this, that pivotal joint. Okay, next the fourth one we are going, that is gliding joint. The fourth one I am going here, the gliding joint. So why I am going slow here? This is very, very important. Gliding joint. Okay, so example, gliding, it's there in the name, it's a glide like this. That is the rest area. We say they're going to glide over. So gliding joint, intercarpal joints and intertarsal joints. Let me change the color. Example one, intercarpal joint. Okay, so intercarpal joint. That means between, what is intercarpal? Between the carpals. So where do you find the carpals? Carpals are the wrist bones. Okay, so that at wrist. So between the carpals. Next, intertarsal joints. The second one, intertarsal joints. Okay, so where do you see this? So between the tarsals. Okay, so between the tarsals. Okay, so that at wrist, isn't it? Okay, we got wrong here. Is it possible to correct? Yeah, I think. Oh, put it down. No problem. We'll write it back. Intercarpal joints. What you said between the carpals. So who are carpals? Who are called carpals here? The wrist bones are called carpals. Okay, then in the same way, between tarsals. Who are tarsals? Tarsals means that bones of ankle, isn't it? Ankle bones. So that's it. That to be remembered. They are called gliding joints. They are called gliding joints. Okay, so next, the fourth one we are going here. The fourth one, this is the fourth one. Okay, so then condyloid joint. Now moving to the condyloid joint. Fifth one, it is condyloid joints. Okay, so this is the condyloid joint. So where do you see condyle? What is condyle? Condyle means the small ball-like protrusions. We'll say condyles. So joints between the carpals. Number one, joint between the carpals. Okay, joint between the carpals and metacarpals. Joint between the carpals and metacarpals. So did you remember? This is carpal and this is metacarpal, this spike that. So what is called joint between the carpals and metacarpal. Joint between occipital condyles and atlas. Second one, joint between occipital condyle. Did you remember? We said it as the dicondylic skull in case of human being. Occipital condyles and atlas. Between the atlas and axis, we have pivotal joint. Now here, between the occipital condyle, occipital bone is having some protrusions. We said that called condyles. So that condyles are going to fix over on the atlas. So if you go for the previous diagram, there you can understand. There we said this is what do you call this a joint as pivotal joint. And I said over that the skull is having the particularly facial, is that facial bone, that the cranial bones. So they are having two condyles, isn't it? The two condyles. The two condyles are having some facets here. In atlas, some facet. That means the concavity we can say. So the two occipital condyles of occipital bone is going to fix in the facets of occipital condyles. So facets for occipital condyle. Atlas is having facets for occipital condyle. The skull is having, cranium is having the two occipital condyles. This joint we are talking about. This joint. Okay, so this joint we say condyloid joint. Okay, this joint is said to be atlas between the atlas and axis, whatever present that you say the pivotal joint. Now I am talking about the joint which between the condyles of the occipital bone. Shall we draw here also? The condyles of the occipital bone. This is the atlas and sorry, axis that is, and atlas I am going to draw. So no doubt here, this joint is pivotal joint. Okay. Next, let me move this. Okay. Then now we are talking about the skull. The skull is having, this is the skull, particularly cranium we have to say. They are having two facets, the facets. So that we have to talk about. Joint between occipital condyles. These are occipital condyles. Okay. And atlas. This red one is atlas. Okay, so this one you know that is axis. This area is said to be axis. So to avoid the confusion, I am going very little slow. This is axis. Okay. So what is this? This is atlas. Okay. Next, what is this? This is skull, or you may pronounce it as cranium because we are showing only cranium to you. Okay. So this is a total issue. No matter, this kind of diagrams cannot be allowed for public examinations. If you don't draw like this, just for the theoretical, hypothetical issue, I'm showing that, okay, we'll go with various diagrams after these. So condyloid joint is over, joint between the occipital condyles and atlas. And here, the carpals is said. Within the carpals, we have gliding. And carpal connection with the metacarpals, the fingers, what do you say, phalanges. Here we are talking. Carpal connection to the metacarpal is said to be condyloid joint. Okay. So joint between occipital condyles and atlas is condyloid joint. Okay. Next, finally, we are going with the last joint, that is saddle joint. The sixth one is the saddle joint. So saddle joint. So where do you see the saddle joint? So saddle joint. Actually, for all these joints, there is another angle. How do they move? That based on that, we say multi-axial diarthros, biaxial diarthros, monoaxial diarthros. Likewise, we have a functional classification here also, but that is not included in our syllabus. That definitely it will. You are going to get that in that MBBS. Okay, so then what do you say? Joint between the carpal and metacarpal. Carpal and metacarpal. Already we said carpal and metacarpal is the condyloid joint. Then what is this? That joint between the carpal and metacarpal of the thumb, particularly thumb. You may find some difference here, like this. That how the four fingers are moving and how the thumb is moving. The thumb, we can say thumb moving a little bit free, isn't it? That is because saddle joint. Here, the remaining fingers are not having that much free movement. A thumb finger is having a great movement because of a special joint. We say in general times, this is even called as a mini ball and socket joint. The mini ball and socket. We use it to say it. Okay. So these are the joints, the different kinds of joints here. So then now we'll go with the complete one. Well, let me revise once. Then after I'll show you all these joints in the bones, in the bones. Okay. So let me once again from the beginning. We said synovial joints as diarthroses and the ball and socket joint. The number one, ball and socket joint. Okay. So that is the ball and socket joint. And a ball and socket joint, we have two examples. Hip joint, the acetobulum of pelvic girdle and the head of femur. Acetobulum of pelvic girdle and the head of femur. Then shoulder joint, glenoid cavity of pectoral girdle, and head of humerus. Okay. Next, hinge joint. Hinge joint is the elbow joint between the humerus and radius ulna. Knee joint between the femur and tibia and fibula. Next, the third one, pivotal joint. Pivotal joint between the atlantoaxial joint, between the atlas and axis, the first and second cervical vertebrae, and joint between the radius and ulna. Okay, so next, the gliding joint, intercarpal joints, we say, between the carpals or wrist bones, that we say, then intertarsal joint, between tarsal, ankle bones. And the fifth one, condyloid joint between the carpals and metacarpals, then joint between the occipital condyles and atlas. Condyloid joints are present. Then saddle joint. Saddle joint is there, joint between the carpal and metacarpal of the thumb. So that's it. These are all the joints here. So that overall, that we got complete idea on the body, isn't it? Complete idea we got on about the body. So let's check it out. Let's check our knowledge. Let me give the conclusion. Total axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. So now I am showing The full bone with calculations. So joints are completed. That I'll show that particular joints. We need to locate all that particular joints. Along with that, that the bones will end till the time that we need to go through. So that the bones of the adult skeletal system, the division of the skeleton, axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. We made it actually. Axial skeleton includes skull, that vertebral column. Then in case of that hyoid bone, auditory ossicle, that in the thorax, sternum and ribs are there. Totally we say 80. In that cranium with 8 bones, the facial bones are 14. Then hyoid bone, one hyoid bone, that 6 malleus incus stapes into 2. That means 2 malleus, 2 incus, 2 stapes. Auditory ossicle. And 26 vertebrae of the vertebral column, that one sternum and ribs, 24 ribs. Total calculation is 80. This calculation is very important here. Then in case of appendicular skeleton, pectoral girdle, 2 clavicles, 2 scapula. Okay, then 2 humerus, 2, because 4 limbs we have 2, isn't it? That 2 ulna, 2 radius, carpal 16, metacarpal 10, and phalanges. Phalanges are going to be 28. A little bit calculation differences we'll find here in this area. That so whatever it may be, finally we'll get the total 126 will come here. In the previous we said that in case of total 126 will come, no doubt about that. But only problem here, to whom we consider, to whom we are not to consider. Who is going to be fused, who is not fused. In that way, we'll find some calculation differences. When issue comes like that, we should follow the NCERT textbook. Just to know we are learning this, that's all. Like pelvic girdle, the 2 coxal bones. Means here we are not calculating ilium, ischium, pubis. We are not calculating the ilium, ischium, pubis. Okay. Then femur 2, patella 2, fibula 2, tibia 2, dorsal 14, metatarsal 10, and phalanges 28. Okay. So now, now the full picture we are observing here. So let me pointing out. Let me point out. So can you see the cursor? Yeah. So this is the occipital bone, isn't it? The occipital bone. In the occipital bone, let us zoom. Because here we have some confusion, that avoid that confusion. Right. Okay. They're all jumping actually. So this area, I think you can see this area clearly now. Okay, so this is the occipital bone, occipital condyles of the occipital bone, and first vertebrae and axis. Everything you can see clear. Okay, now let me go. Okay, so this is the confusing area. With the visualizing this area will be helpful for you. That's why I'm showing this area. Whatever the diagram I drawn there, that you can see clearly. Okay. Yeah, very good. So this is the area that I think you can see my markings here. So these are the 2 occipital condyles going to fix the ring-like bone. This is the ring-like bone. So that particular ring-like bone is atlas. Okay, so can you see this? This is axis. Okay, so this area between the occipital condyles of the occipital bone and the fact that the atlas, we have that particular joint between the axis and atlas. We have another joint. So that differences that we have to find it out. That differences we have to find it out. Okay, so between the atlas and axis, what do you call that joint is? That a pivotal joint. That is pivotal joint. Atlas and axis, pivotal joint. Okay, so that's our work is over. Now let's move it. Let us try to recognize all the other joints also.
నేను అది కంచంలోకి వేసుకున్నా ఉప్మా కదా అని నూనె నూనె ఉండి నేను తినలేక ఆయాసం అయ్యే పడుకుంది
Okay.
అందులో పెట్టుంది.
Okay. Then let's talk about this. Everything. That means we are closing this actually here today. We are closing that you can see the ribs are attached to the sternum. That is the manubrium, sternobrum, and Ziphy sternum. The ribs attachment, this white portion. What is that white portion? That white portion, what do you call that? Hyaline cartilage. Ribs are attached. 7 ribs are attached to the sternum. 8, 9, 10 are going to attach to the seventh one, and the 11 and 12, you can see they are free. That if you see in Zoom, you can understand. And the intervertebral disc between the vertebrae also you can see clear here. Okay, so then this is the pelvic girdle. Now let's talk about the joints here. We are discussing about the joints. Let's come from the top. Let's come from the top here. So here from back side only you can see that. Now let's start. This is one joint. Okay, the glenoid cavity of pectoral girdle, the head of the humerus, is having ball and socket joint. Next, between the humerus and radius ulna, this area between the humerus and radius ulna, what kind of joint you will find? Hinge joint. Okay, this is the radius and ulna. Radius and ulna, you can see the two bones. Then carpals. What kind of joint will find in the carpals? That intercarpal joints, that gliding joint you can see. Okay, so then carpal's connection to the metacarpal. The connection of carpal to the metacarpal. So let me show you. Yeah, okay, we got it. So that carpal to the metacarpal. These are carpals and these five are said to be metacarpal. So carpo-metacarpal joint. And we have one more joint here. This the thumb joint is separate. Okay, so the carpo-metacarpal joint we said it as condyloid joint. This thumb joint we said saddle joint. Again hinge joint you can see here. In between the phalanges, we didn't explain, but we'll find that. In the fingers, you can see hinge joint. How can you recognize? This is called multi-axial diarthros actually. That means ball and socket joint. Hinge joint is monoaxial. That means we'll find only, movement we can see only in one direction. Likewise, here in the fingers also we can see in one direction. No much details required. It's enough. It's enough. Okay. I'll stop. Just names is very important for us. Okay. There one more joint you can see here. This is the depression. Acetopvelum. Acetopvelum of pelvic girdle. The head of femur is having a joint. What is that? Ball and socket joint. The femur and tibiofibula. Between the femur and tibiofibula, that we have another joint. What is that? Hinge joint. We can see the hinge joint. Then this is about that particular tarsals. Here the tarsals, we said intertarsal joint is gliding joint. Okay, so then with the between the tarsal and metatarsal, we'll have the condyloid joint. And in between the phalanges again, hinge attachment is fine. Okay, so whatever, this is all about the different kinds of joints. So we'll go with there's some more diagrams, and I'm closing here. I'm closing. Yeah, the scapula, these are all the diagrams we are seeing. This is enough for us today. Just I'm giving the brief. That's why this is enough. That this blue one, frontal, parietal, temporal. Then this is occipital one, and this is temporal one, and this is the sphenoid, and you can see the ethmoid. Okay, so now we came for joints, isn't it? Coronal suture. You see this? This is the suture. There's so many other sutures are also there. Coronal suture, squamous suture. Between the parietal and temporal, we have a suture. That is a squamous suture. Then between the parietal and occipital bone, we have a suture. We say lambdoidal suture. Okay, so no much required. Only one suture we are remembering. That is coronal suture. Between the frontal and parietal, their attachment indicates like a small line. We call it as suture. Okay. Next, we'll go there. We'll go down. These you can see sutures clearly here. Okay, last. Yeah, this is the coronal suture. The in between the parietal bone there is a suture, sagittal suture. Okay, so now going down, sphenoid, ethmoid, we have seen all the tissues. Here it is. I have to show occipital condyles for you. These two occipital condyles are going to fix with the facets of the atlas, first vertebrae, atlas. Okay, so I shown all this to you. Let me say again, this green one is sphenoid bone, which is called keystone bone. And you can see condyles clearly here. Two condyles. We see that dicondylic skull. Dicondylic skull. Yeah, this is the keystone bone. That sphenoid bone is keystone bone. You can see it is connected to the frontal, it is connected to the occipital, then to the parietal, all the bones it connected. That's why we say that is keystone. Okay, so this is the sphenoid bone. Ethmoid bone. You can see this is the ethmoid bone. Original location of the ethmoid. So we use it to show like this. Where cristagalli is there, so the cristagalli is a part of ethmoid. Okay. And here even you can see the inferior nasal concave. These two are said to be inferior nasal concave. In the middle, you can see the omer. Omer is separating the two nostrils. No need to get this much knowledge. Is not much required for us. The mandible I just showed to you. And then the same way, we'll go to the joints also. Joints. The next chapter is the joints actually. So I have to shift there. That I think I shown this to you yesterday. Hyoid bone, mandibles. If we are in the class, I have to show all this in projector, isn't it? If you remember for your that seniors, I shown this on projector. I think you got much better option. That everyone have their own projector. That means you are looking clearly in your mobile or laptop, whatever you are using. Okay, so I think it's clear to you. Yeah, it's clear. Yeah, these are the two. This is the bone. This is the bone. If you want, you can take a screenshot. As I shown to you, occipital bone is having the two occipital condyles. So these are the facets for occipital condyle. These two. So that two bones of the occipital bone is going to fix here. That in this particular area, in these facets, they are going to fix. And this is axis. Okay, so this ring, what do you call atlas? On above the ring, we'll find the total skull. Okay, so this is the area. We have two joints there, isn't it? One is condyloid and other is atlantoaxial joint, pivotal joint. So that facets clearly shown. These are different kinds of vertebrae. Centrum, pre-Jacob apophysis, post-Jacob apophysis. At least you are lucky for second year. You don't have all these particular. As I said to you, that sacral vertebrae are fused. You can see fused form of sacral vertebrae. S1, S2, S3, S4, S5. But we consider sacral as single one, isn't it? Then coccygeal vertebrae, CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4. Actually, four are there, but they are completely fused. That what is fused mean? You can see here between the vertebrae, intervertebral discs are there. You don't find any intervertebral disc in between. They are completely fused. Okay. So then next, I'll move on. I'll move on. Sternum, you can see there. Attachment of the ribs. Okay, so directly I'll go to the joints chapter. So appendicular skeleton, pectoral girdle, pelvic girdle. That this is the glenoid cavity. Okay, the glenoid cavity. The spine, we said there is a that the on above the scapula ridge like spine is present. Spine continue as acromion process. We said, isn't it? This is the acromion process. That in another angle below the acromion process, we'll find the glenoid cavity. The ventral side, the dorsal side. That means on above the shoulder, we'll find the spine, the ridge like, and then that will continue as acromion process. This is the joint. Glenoid cavity and head of the humerus is having a joint. Okay, so let me go. So interosseous membrane. I should show interosseous membrane to you. It is there actually between the tibia and fibula and radius and ulna. Interosseous membrane. You got in that particular joint. So who is interosseous membrane? Between the tibia, the radius and ulna. While reading, you'll get some problem. That's why you just take screenshot. If you want, you can take screenshot. So between the radius and ulna. Who is interosseous membrane? That kind of doubts will come. So that's why in this session, just I am showing everything. That this is the bone, that is this bone, that bone likewise. They're just showing that information I'm showing. These are the carpals. We said carpals, isn't it? Trapezium, trapezoid. The names they have actually, that each and every bone is having their own names. This is the interosseous membrane. You can see clearly. Between the radius and ulna and as well as between the tarsal and metatarsals also, we'll find the interosseous membrane. Okay. Wait. So I'm going faster. I'll stop. Yeah, these are the carpals. Carpals. I'm not giving time, isn't it? I'm giving you just take screenshot of you that carpals, metacarpals, and the phalanges are shown clearly there. So that the word we said interosseous membrane that you can see in the previous diagram. This is the interosseous membrane. So now I'm working on the names we got in the joint. That's all. Here it is. See the names: scaphoid, trapezium, capitate, trapezoid, lunate, pisiform, trichotrum. That in itself, in the next year itself, in MBBS first year, you have to learn all this. So this is ilium, ischium, and pubis. This is the ilium bone, and this is ischium, and this is pubis. The two bones. See, there is a small difference between the male and female. In the next diagram, I'll show. This is the difference. There is a male pelvic girdle with the cavity, and female is having some difference. You can see in the diagram. Please, not required in intermediate. Yeah, that you can see the head of femur is going to fix in the acetobulum of the pelvic girdle here, which form the ball and socket joint. Then one more. In the posterior view, you can see clearly a joint between the femur as well as tibia fibula, particularly tibia. When we talk about that, you can see the hinge attachment. At present, just we are kids. That means just learning the surface level names. Tibia and fibula with their interosseous membrane. Yeah, here you can see the tarsals clearly. Tarsals, that navicular, third cuneiform, second cuneiform, that cuboid, the first cuneiform. They're all said to be tarsal. Intertarsal joint. So is intertarsal joint, the gliding joint is intertarsal. Okay, so let me close this with the skeletal system that joints by showing joints that I'll close this. So as we said, the fibrous joints, sutures, synchondroses, symphoses, and synovial joints. Here we are not here to read all these. Here it is the diagram we drawn about the synovial joint. You can see in the frontal section. If you give diagrammatic view, it will be like this. That's irregular dense fibrous connective tissue as from one periosteum to the another periosteum. and the red line, that is synovial membrane, and that little articular cartilage, and the yellow portion is the synovial fluid. Will facilitate when you see this kind of diagrams like this. Why I use it to spend more time here. When you see the diagrams like this, these are muscles actually, adductor and abductor, flexor and extensor. We don't have any syllabus. That for every movement there is a muscle, adductor, abductor, flexor and extensor like. Okay, so the types of synovial joints. Ball and socket, hinge. Just we are looking for photographs. That's it. So their function wise, we have that we can see here that condyloid joint. This is condyloid joint. And this is the joint between the radius and ulna. A little bit movement you can see. A little bit movement. That we set it as pivotal joint between the radius and ulna. Okay, so this is the hinge attachment between the humerus and radius ulna. It's personally radius and ulna is having a small pivotal joint with little bit movement, as I said like this, I shown like. And between the humerus and radius ulna, there is hinge joint. By reading again and again, all these things will be clarified. Okay, so that gliding joint, you can see here one bone glide over on one another. Hinge joint is called uniaxial, monoaxial joint. Little flexibility is there, biaxial. Pivotal joint, that ball and socket is multiaxial joint. That means this is the ball of something, head of humerus or head of femur, and this is the socket. If it is femur, acetobulum. If it is humerus, that is glenoid cap. With original bones, we are seeing. So that's it. Finally, this is the chart. Actually, I gave it to you from the chart. Okay, so that's it. So the came to the end of